I was in Ramona at the time, and so our family lived on a big parcel of land on a canyon, beautiful property. We had watched the fire kind of come around the corner over through the night. You know, you see the glowing flames off in the distance, and they had come around a hill, and we saw them kind of go away, and we thought, oh, that's great, they took care of it. Well, that's kind of what we thought. They will take care of it, and the fact is there was no they taking care of it for us. There was a huge fire that had come through a canyon that at that point we just couldn't see. And having not dealt with fire before, we just magically thought that there were other people that were going to come save us and take care of this fire and do it for us. But the reality was that we all went to bed thinking this fire was gone because it was pitch black and we couldn't see it anymore. But it was down in a canyon, wiggled its way through the canyon up to our home, and my 3-year-old at the time had woken me up, and she said, you know, I can't sleep, I think there's something in the backyard. And we looked in the backyard, and there's this, 20-foot wall of flame. And within moments, we all had to evacuate, literally with the clothes on our bodies. At that point, we just raced and got out of the house as fast as we could, as 20-foot flames were probably 50 foot from the house. The neighbors had evacuated. They were all out. So they had been watching the fire. No policemen or firefighters had come to our door because they were too busy scrambling and getting themselves over to where they could fight this fire. Again, we thought the fire was out, and here we are, literally the last people on our block that were still in our homes. Yeah, it was that moment as a man, you can relate, I'm sure, where you have to decide who you want to be in that moment, and it was, for that moment for me, it was take care of my family. And the house was all shut up at that point. So you mentioned like windows and doors and all that, everything was completely closed. So I think our house did actually burn from an ember, is what they said. The wind was blowing toward our house through the canyon, and ours was the only one taken. It was, horrific and something you never want to experience, especially with little kids involved, and traumatic for them. Every time we have an opportunity to help somebody now, it's what we want to do. We want to explain how to do it, give them any bit of knowledge that we can pass on, such that it would bring them comfort or give them more education. I learned a lot. I learned that there are things that you can do ahead of time that would mitigate your risk, like clearing the brush away from my home. To set me and my family up to succeed, I waited for that other somebody to take care of us. And really the burden and the responsibility fell on me, and I just didn't take care of it. I would say make a bullet list of the things that your home needs to be as safe as possible. So in our case, it was very preventable. What we could have experienced, what could have been different had I followed just some really easy bullet point steps. Plan on investing the time and just a little bit of resources. It wouldn't have cost us much to make our home safer. I thought that a big fire had to come basically take over my house. And again, that's not how fire works at all. It generates its own kind of heat and its own kind of microclimate. It will generate a force to push an ember off in the distance, and where that ember lands is where the new fire begins. And I literally had no concept of that. I didn't understand that at all, that principle. And so the way the fire got to my house was the embers were way off and actually got pushed into the foliage and into the yard and up into the rafters of my home. I think if somebody understands that concept, they can take some really easy steps. It wasn't difficult. What I could have done wasn't difficult. So when you showed me the ember deflector system, I thought to myself, this is something that could have easily saved my home. This is something with a very minimal investment could have been something that could have protected my home in a way that I didn't even know I needed at the time. And now that I'm armed with this new information, I would have gladly spent whatever it takes to get this done. I can tell you with an ember deflector system, as a professional real estate agent, I would show any potential buyer a home and I would advise them this is something that would raise the value of this home. It's like having another layer of protection, another insurance policy on your home to protect it in the event of a fire. And it doesn't change the aesthetic value of the home in any way. And I love the feature that when many homeowners are away, they can actually protect their home by having this feature on their telephone where they can put the ember deflector to closed position. It gives them the peace of mind they can go on vacation, they can go, visiting and go see relatives somewhere else and know that their home's protected. On this last round, where we just had our recent Carlsbad fires, and we also had Harmony Grove fires that were happening at the same time. So I had left the home, we evacuated, and we actually wanted to go back. We didn't have the time or the wherewithal to think about, okay, not only am I going to grab my family and my animals and all our possessions that we can at least fit in the car and take off, not only do I need to do that, but I need to protect this home as best I can before I go away from it, because I won't be able to come back. It's the evacuation where you go and then they don't let you back to your home. So to have had that feature on my phone would have been amazing. So I firmly believe that that could have been something that I would have utilized in that moment. So I wholeheartedly believe in educating beforehand. Having knowledge would have saved our home, bottom line.